Our pastor, Stephen Broden, is a graduate of Dallas Theological Seminary with a Master of Arts in Bible, the University of Michigan with a master degree in communications and a BA in speech. He serves as pastor of the Fair Park Bible Fellowship Church and is one of the chief spokesmen for the Black pro-life movement in Dallas. His talk and information will inspire you to become more active and preserve our liberties and freedom. Welcome, Pastor Stephen Broden.
Well, good afternoon, and it's good to be in Midland, Texas. What I know about Midland is Friday nights, the football program. But I used to work for Atlantic Richfield Company many years ago, and of course, ARCO had some interest out here, and I would occasionally come out. And the thing that I recognized when I was out here at night, that the sky seemed so big in Midland. But it's big in Texas compared to where I'm from, Michigan. But I've been here in Texas now since 1977, so I am a full-fledged Texan. And I was born to a couple of Texans. My mom and dad were both born and raised in Dallas, Texas, and so I'm a Texan. And I'm glad to be a Texan. You know, the state of Texas is doing real well right now. And one of the things that I'm saying in my campaign is that Texas has fast become one of the favorite states for relocating businesses. And the 30th District is one of the areas where none of them are coming. And so we need to figure out how to get businesses to consider the 30th District. And one of the ways to do that is to get rid of Eddie Bernice Johnson, who is the incumbent there for 18 years, who've done nothing in that district. Well, I'm glad to be here today because I believe that that this is a special moment in the history of our nation, a special moment. It is a moment, I think, that has required of us, and when I say us, those of us who have been engaged here over the years, to seize an opportunity that has opened to us. I think this administration and the liberal left in America has an agenda, and that agenda is to forever change who we are as a nation. They are seeking to flip this nation from its founding principles and the Judeo-Christian frame that has made it great into a socialistic paradigm. And by that I mean that they are seeking an ideological change that will fundamentally change how we do governance, how we do business, how we do relationships in this context called America. And for those of us who have not been engaged, this is an opportunity for us to be engaged. Those of us who have been engaged, what an opportunity for us to express the principles and articulate them in a way that will give, I think, focus and give attention to how we can rescue this republic. If we don't do that, there's a very serious chance that we can lose this great republic. So as we move forward, and as Americans become more and more aware of what's going on in our nation, they are alerted to the fact that something is uncomfortable about having elected officials in Washington, D.C. who are not paying attention to us and listening to what we are saying. There's something uncomfortable about that. And the move that they have made in terms of governance is a move away from the principles that we know to be true about what has made this nation great. I have gotten up and gotten involved in the political process. I'm very comfortable preaching and teaching every Sunday. I love to do it. But Edmund Burke says this: all that is required for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Men and women, we have done nothing for too long. We've allowed the proverbial fox into the hen house, and he's got one thing on his mind. That's a fried chicken salad. And we've got to figure out how to get him out of that house so that we can preserve the chickens and maintain our way of life and living. And so there's a need, a desperate need, a screaming need for us to be engaged. However, may I say to you, our engagement has to be focused and targeted. It just cannot be getting up and willy-nilly trying to get involved in anything and everything. We have to be involved, and our involvement must be targeted and focused. And may I say to you that there are many issues on the table that can distract from what the real issues are that we're facing in America today. I want to share a couple of things or experiences that I had and I think that will help frame for us why it is important for us to be targeted and focused at this time. Number one is I was in Austin about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago for the SBOE, for the State Board of Education testimony. And I was called by Bill Ames, who was on the text board review, and he said, Pastor Broden, we need for you to go to Austin. He didn't give me context. He just said, I need to go to Austin and talk about our founding principles and our Judeo-Christian heritage. I said, I'd be glad to do that. And, that's part of what I have been doing around the district is alerting people to the fact that there are two threats that are coming from the liberal left and the progressive movement. And they have been targeted specifically against our founding principles and our Judeo-Christian ethic. If they can get us to not recognize who we are from our Judeo-Christian frame, and also not recognize the value and the worth of our founding principles, then they can forever change us. So I said, I'll be glad to go do that. So I walk into Austin, and I go to the building where they're having the meeting, and I walk into this room. And in this room, it's crowded. I mean, it's packed. It's jam-packed with people. And I sensed something in the room. I said, man, it was like a contentious spirit in that room. And so I'm trying to figure out and find a friendly face. I'm looking around the room. Is there anybody I know? I didn't see anybody I knew. So I sat down at the first open seat. And the first open seat I sat down was with a group of Muslims. They were sitting in there, and they were just buzzing. We're here because, we're against this curricular change. And it's the Jews who are running the curriculum across the nation. I sat there, I was listening to this, I said, well, what are they talking about, the Jews? And they were targeting the Jews. And then on the right side of me was a guy who was sitting there, was from SMU, and I didn't know who this guy was. He was a professor. And he said, I'm here to testify against this new curricular change. I said, why? He says, well, there's a lot of errors in it. He says, and why are you here? I said, I'm here to testify for it. He says, why? I said, because I believe that they're putting back the Judeo-Christian heritage back into the curriculum, and they're making reference to our founding principles that made this nation great. He said, well, we may have had some Christian principles, but we're not a Christian nation. And he got up and he moved away from me. When he moved away from me, someone noticed me from across the room, and they walked up to me and said, Pastor Broden, he says, weren't you the one that spoke at the 912 meeting and been on Glenn Beck? And I said, yeah, that's me. He said, oh, well, good, glad you're here. He said, do you know who you were just sitting next to? I said, no. He said, that was Professor so-and-so, who is the #1 atheist in Texas, and he resists everything Christian. And he's here because the Christian emphasis is being placed back in the curriculum. So I'm sitting in this room, and I'm recognizing that Bill Ames had not given me any context as to what I was doing to make a testimony. Then I get the list of names on the testimony, and guess who was testifying first? Me. Now that's uncomfortable because I was hoping that someone else would testify before me. Then it gives me context. Then I can adjust what I'm going to say to fit the context, but I'm setting the context. But before that, a guy walked up behind me, and I heard the conversation. He was talking to a Muslim guy. He says, are you a Muslim? He says, yes, I'm a Muslim. He said, the reason why we're here is because this group called the Wall Builders. The Wall Builders are the ones who are influencing the Board of Education to put this Christian stuff back into this curricula. And I was listening to that carefully, and then I just couldn't take it anymore. I said, look here, sir, you are not telling the truth. So the Wall Builders are not a part of this group. They are an independent 501c3 organization who specializes on capturing the history, our Judeo-Christian history, and showing the nexus or the connection between who we are as a people today and the influence of our Judeo-Christian frame. I said, you're not telling the truth. He said, you must be a wall builder. I said, I am not a wall builder, and he moved away from me.